Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
I know this sounds a little out there and woo-woo, and I get it. And I used to think these things too until I started seeing it for myself. I'm a skeptic like anybody else. But when I started seeing this energy in motion and what it can do and how it can support us, it all came crystal clear. So it's no surprise to me that this guest can do things that can support you. One of them we talked about recently, cutting the cord, i.e., ending a relationship or a connection with somebody or something. Today, we're going to talk about spells, as in love spells. I'm intrigued. Let's bring her in here and talk about this gifted spiritual practitioner, and she is known as Dr. Love. Welcome. How are you doing today?
Doing great. How you doing, Steve?
Very well. Very well. We mentioned this briefly when we got together a while ago, but your your gifts of being intuitive and spiritual you believe it came from your blood type, which is extremely, extremely rare. Can we talk about that again?
Yeah, I'm still learning about it myself. Um, I always knew I had a rare blood, but I didn't know it had anything to do with my spirituality. And the last few years, because of the internet and more people diving in it, we're recently discovering there's groups of people that are RH negative, and most of all of them have a spiritual gift. Different types of spiritual gift, but we all have them.
Can you explain why, or is it just seems to be?
I don't know. I really want to know more myself. I just know it's
Hmm.
very special. Um, like I said, there's different people that have different gifts that have the bloodline of RH negative. Um, my abilities, I am very strong with picking up people's energy and not just picking it up, because that's one thing you could pick it up, but I could change it.
Hmm. And I can get that. I pick up on energy from people. I'm getting better and better at it. I'm intentional. I
Yeah.
want to. like, you know, sometimes I don't, to be honest with you. But
Yeah, I know.
yeah. But I feel it. Like I look for it. I'm vibing it. When I walk into a room or I go somewhere, I'm like, I'm just looking, picking up. What am I getting? What am I receiving? Um, Going with my gut. But you take it layers deeper when you say you can change that energy. Can you do it without getting the permission of somebody? Because it's always my understanding that when it comes to this kind of work, that you have to have permission to get in somebody's field or their energy. Tell us about that.
You do. To change their energy, yes, you do have to have permission. But here goes another thing. If somebody gets into my energy, I have free range.
How do you mean?
Well, I told you before I'm special. I told you before I come across a lot of people that are also energy vampires.
Oh yeah.
So you're right. So they want to eat that energy because they love it so much. Well, once they're done in my energy because they think they could steal it or they just love it so much, I could change it.
So
But
can you?
it happens.
And I guess that's leading us into love spells, which we're going to get to in a sec. But
Hmm.
can you give an example of what you're talking about? How you can change it?
If a person's energy is, and I will use it like this, there's clean energy, there's dirty energy, there's white, and then there's dark, and then there's layers in between. Okay. We're made of both.
Okay.
I don't believe they're just a good and a bad. You have access to both. I have access to both. We both do. Some people, humans, um, some don't know how to tap into the light side. Some just are carrying dark and negativity, and they don't know how to even reach the white side. They never even experienced it, even growing up. So, what I do for them, because I love white light, I change it with my energy. So, basically, I put a little sugar in it.
Okay.
So, I know how to create the sauce. And when I send positive vibes to them to change their energy, they feel it and they feel it in their life. And things just start changing automatically from jobs, opportunities, love. They get the recipe.
So let's say somebody is doing you wrong. They're just, you feel they're just not good people. That's it. And could you, could I identify who that is and you send positive energy just to change their negativity?
Yes, because I'm an alchemist.
Say that again.
I'm an alchemist. I could take bad energy and change it into good. I've been doing that my whole life. People send me, and I growing up, people would send me the evil eye. Yes, I believe in that. People would send me bad energy, and I would change it into good.
I
So I
haven't
would
heard
take
that
the
term evil eye in so long, by the way. It's been a while.
it's still there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's still there. I didn't used to believe in it myself, to be honest with you. I just thought it was like, why is everybody carrying that charm? What's that charm for? It's more than just a charm. You don't have to believe in an object or believe in a charm or believe in anything. I could do it myself. You could do it yourself. You could be around somebody and just be envious automatically, and then they receive the evil eye. It's
Hmm.
all about intention.
So I had to Google, and Rh negative, only 6% of the world's population have that blood type.
That's me.
Wow. Do you know anybody else with that blood type?
No, I do not. And I never met one yet, but hopefully I will. So no one in my family has it. None of my siblings, none of my relatives, no one, no one.
Wow. Hmm. Does anybody else in your family have what is to believe to be intuitive powers, high level of spiritualism?
My grandmother used to dabble in with tarot cards, but that's as far as it ever went with my generations.
Hmm. Do you believe in tarot cards?
I do, but I don't like to use them because they're like a Ouija board. You have to respect them. Anybody can. I'm very sensitive, so I'm very careful about the tools I use. Different spirits can come through that you don't want to communicate with.
Hmm.
Not all spirits are good.
I bought a deck for the first time, I don't know, maybe 2 months ago. And every once in a while, if I'm wondering about something, pondering something, I'll pull three cards just for fun, see what it has to say.
Ooh.
You know, there's no harm, I believe. Um, and there was one time where I wasn't expecting the card actually said no, and I didn't expect it to say no. So I was
Mm.
like, all right, it's on my radar. I'm not like changing my life, but like, okay. And the cards I got are very simple, kind of dumbed down. They call them angel cards, but I believe they're tarot cards.
Oh, those are
Um,
nice ones.
yeah, they're very positive, um, but easy to understand. I don't have time to go to the book and like read, 18 paragraphs on what the
It's an art. Oh, believe me, Steve, it's art.
Oh my
It's an
God.
art.
No, 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 no. And especially, I guess it's tarot cards, have, the Cup of Swords and the blah, 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 blah. No. That's not,
I know.
I'm just doing it for fun. Almost like opening a fortune cookie and I wonder what it says.
Let's see. Yeah, let's see what it says. I do
Yeah.
that too all the time. Yeah.
So let's go into love spells.
Mm.
Explain.
Okay. So I want to set this out there. We're not just putting a spell on somebody that is okay. So a lot of people's like, I don't want that person to be forced to love me. We don't do that. I don't do that. When I say we, I'm meaning me and my spirit guides. We don't do that. If you're not a good match for each other, I'm going to tell you because I could read the energy. Okay. The individual usually give me a picture of the person that they want to reconnect with. I will meditate with my spirit guides. If they are not a good connection, I will let them know. If they are a twin flame or they do have a soul tie, that's when we go forward with the reconnection love spell. Okay.
Hmm.
So it's not forced. It's just reconnecting what was originally there that should have grew.
I have to process this because if you deeply soul search, you know that that person's not a good connection for you. You don't want to admit it. You don't want to admit
No,
it.
no, a lot of times they get the answer is no.
Mm,
And a lot of times they still want to pursue it. And that's on them, but
yeah.
I'm always honest.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you would detect that. I've
I
been in,
do.
yeah, I've been in relationships where, yes, it was fun and it continued, but I knew halfway through the journey, this is not, a long term. You just know, unless you're fooling yourself. And I guess you get to a certain point in your life where maybe you pick up on the energy, and it's like, no, that's not good. That's not good.
No,
Hmm.
no, it's not. But the heart wants what the heart wants. And if the person or party still wants to continue on with the love spell, we still do it.
Yeah. Again, on your end, if it comes back as this is a potentially good match, and maybe other things out in the way, whatever it is,
Exactly, exactly. And
yeah,
there is a lot of things that get in the way. Sometimes it's the career or a third
yeah,
party,
mm,
or just the person wasn't ready themselves.
yeah.
They were holding back a lot of issues, which also I combine that with a cord cutting. Sometimes I have to help the person party cord cut from any addictions that they had, any sometimes even mental illness, in order for them to be able to be free, to be open to a relationship.
What happens when you do a love spell? What are you actually doing? How do you perform it?
I do it several different ways. It all depends on I even come into cases where, and this does happen quite often, where I'll give you an example. Let's say a female wants to get her ex back, but he's already hooking up with his baby's mama. I'm just giving you a quick example.
Mm-hmm.
We go further in, we find out the baby's mama done some voodoo hoodoo. Says yes, girls do it. It happens. So I have to undo what they done. Even if they just put a trap on him, sometimes we have to undo what was done in order for him to come back.
Wow. Um,
It gets deep. It gets real deep.
but you would know if something's up, and have there been quite a few times where you've said to somebody, "Yeah, I'm not going to do it. It's just it's pointless."
Yes, there has been times that I say that I'm not going to lose my energy because I'm not the only spiritual person in the world. There is people that harness dark magic, voodoo, and I respect all the arts. But you can use energy for good and for bad.
Hmm. What's your success rate on the love spells?
About 95%.
Wow. When it's supposed to work, we'll call it that. When it's
Yes, when it's supposed to work, it works.
yeah.
When it's supposed to work, it works. And you the person has to believe in it, because it's not just my energy that's going into it. I don't want that person. I'm not in love with that person. Let's say for you, for instance, you want to get an ex girl back. You got to want this too. It's not just me. Hey, Steve, come on, let's do this. No, you gotta want it. You gotta say, I do. I'm open. I do want to be back together with her. We have unfinished business.
It's interesting, the unfinished business, how you define that. Not you, but just in general. What is, what has been left there? Interesting.
Here's the thing: if you're still thinking about that person and it wasn't a bad cycle, and y'all both have to go your own ways for reasons, you have unfinished business.
But
If
if
you're
s-
dreaming of this person just keeps popping in your daily routine, you have unfinished business. You have a soul tie.
hmm,
Maybe
Interesting.
they need you to help them with something. Maybe you were brought into their life just to help them. Maybe it's not always romantic.
And I totally get that. I really do. And that goes to the phrase people are in your life for a season or a reason.
Yes, yes.
And I've started to analyze what those ties and connections are. And very quick story. Was with somebody for like 6 months 2 years ago. And it was interesting. She was a little crazy, but it was all good. She was younger than me. It was fun, and we supported each other. And I needed radiation. I had minor skin cancer, and it was
Mm.
pretty rough. Like it was, like look how you walked out of a fire. And I remember one day she came walking in, and she's like, "Oh my God, your face! Oh, let me take care of that. Let me put the dressings on." And then I had the epiphany. Oh, she's a nurse. She was there for that reason. And I helped her along with some things as well. And that ended like couple of months after that. But that was the reason. That was the reason.
Yeah.
Interesting when you
People
think.
people come and go out of our lives. We enter people's lives at certain times, and it is to balance. It is to help. There is reasons that we cannot see or explain. It happens to me all the time.
Mm.
And I'm a spiritual person, and I don't know why it happened, but I know it had to happen. So sometimes you just got to let go and go with the flow.
Yep. So what if somebody that you want to be with, they're just not ready? They're just not ready. So if you do a love spell, how is that or is that going to
Well,
change it?
that's interesting. That's what I was saying. I go into the party and I pick up on their energy. And I find out if there is childhood wounds, if there's any trauma from a last relationship, any abuse, any sometimes there's even drugs involved. Whatever it may be, we try to clear out the problem from the person. I'm all about rebuilding the individual and making them the person that they want to be.
So
So once
really,
they get clear,
yeah,
then we could do the reuniting.
interesting. Which is the right way to do it. It's like you go to
Hmm.
the root cause instead of, magically coercing them to get back with the other person.
No,
There's a reason they're not,
no.
you know?
I mean, we could do that, but it's going to fail
It's
later
gonna
on.
fail.
It's
Right.
going to fail later on. I mean, you'll have that person back temporarily, but they're still the same person. They're not fixed.
Now I see why they call you Dr. Love.
Thank you.
Seriously.
Thank you.
Seriously. Because you go, here's the problem with today's medicine, doctors, all of that. When you go to a doctor, traditional doctor, they throw you a couple of pills and it takes care of the symptom. They didn't go to the root cause.
No.
And that's what we're talking about here. If somebody is not connecting with somebody else, but that somebody else feels that it should be happening. Why? What's holding them back? And you uncover that, you find that out and fix it if you can. If you can't, then no spells happening.
Exactly. If I can't fix it, I'm like, I can't fix it. I've had cases where they're upset, like, well, force it. Okay, I can force it, but they're not going to be the way you want them to be. Don't you care about the individual? And I have had selfish clients that don't even care about the individual. They just want to win them back from a third party. I mean, that happens
Oh,
all the time too.
oh, okay. Yeah, I never thought of that. Yeah, you just want to be the winner. Doesn't mean
Exactly.
it's going to be a great relationship.
No, and they don't care. And a lot of people don't care. They don't care about the outcome. They just want it to happen.
Yeah, and that's almost like a deep down inside a control thing. Like I want to bring them
Oh
back.
yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow, that's a tough responsibility that you have.
It is. It is. And as long as I'm very clear with my spirit guides and I'm like, okay, I'm going to tell them, but if they still want to do it, they're human. I can't, it's up to them, you know?
Hmm. Wow. How do we find you? How do we locate you? If somebody's looking,
Oh,
this resonates.
go to my website. So it's drlovejennifer.com.
You said you have a new website, right? I have to go
Yes,
check it out.
yes,
drlovejennifer.com.
yes.
Cool. Great talking with you today. I had no idea where we
Thank
were
you.
going with the love spell. And again, I said at the beginning, this is going to be a little, woo woo, whatever. Now it's very real and understandable because it's not like you're all right. Okay.
No,
No, you're
no.
you're energetically um, connecting with the other person
Yeah.
and figuring what's going on, which is, which is
There's
energy.
some, there's manipulation in it. We change it, but
Oh, I
yeah.
get it. I get it. But it's energy healing.
Yes, it
In
is.
a way,
Yes,
it's
it is.
energy healing, which big fan of. Really cool. Thank you so much for being here today. Learned a lot.
Thank
Like,
you for having me.
Thanks. Looking forward next time we get together.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.